Guys, this is just one of those solid hard rock heavy metal rhythms. I'm thinking bands like Scorpions, Dokken, Queensryche, Rat, hey, the list goes on. And with this type of rhythm that you're about to learn, we're about to get right into the lesson, you can hear it supporting some really amazing vocals, or if it's an instrumental rhythm, you can totally hear some Joe Satriani style leads going over the top of this type of rhythm. And I'm going to explain why I feel like this type of rhythm and rhythms in general are just so important to you as a guitar player. We'll talk more about that in our guitar chat at the end after the lesson, so hang around for that. We're gonna jump right in, but real quick, my Patreon members, you guys have the tabs and the backing tracks to this lesson, so make sure you download those. So let's play the riff out in the open here, and then we'll break everything down. Alright, again, pretty simple rhythm. This is just one of those really solid, foundational, driving hard rock rhythms here. So we're in the key of A minor. I'm in standard tuning, as most of you know. We're kind of just hunkering down on that A power chord, that open A string, second fret of the D string there for that power chord. But we're going to go back and forth between that power chord and palm muting that open A string. So there's a certain cadence, there's a certain rhythm to how I'm doing this. So let me just play this for you here, just the first part. You see and hear how we're going back and forth between that power chord, and then we're palm muting that open A string. Let's play this one more time, then we'll move on. Right there, just that alone is just a really solid rhythm for a part of your song, whether it be the chorus or verse or whatever it may be. You could sing some really powerful vocals over that because it's really just holding down the fort. You could also play some killer solos over that as well. So let's move on to the next part, and this is pretty simple here. So we throw this killer B power chord in there, and I call these killer power chords because they're not quite the power chord you would normally play, which is your root note and your fifth note, okay? Instead, we're playing the root note, and where you would play your fifth note, what I want you to do, and that, by the way, so we're on the A string, second fret, D string, fourth fret. Instead of that fourth fret, okay, I want you to slide that finger up, probably your pinky finger in this case, go up to the fifth fret there, okay? Listen to the difference between the two chords here. We're playing that type of power chord. Again, I call these killer power chords because they're just so cool sounding, and they're like, I guess, killer, right? They're not going to hurt you, I promise. We go from there to the C power chord. Now, we carry over that same cadence, that same rhythm that we were doing with the A power chord, right? The rhythm stays the same, okay? Again, we're on the C power chord, A string, third fret, D string, fifth fret. Towards the end there, I do a little something different with the power chord. The reason I do this, I'm going to show you exactly what I did, but the reason I like to do things like this with power chords, just change them around a little bit. I call these variations of power chords because they're just a variation of the power chord, kind of like what we did with the B. We didn't play the typical power chord. We changed that second note around a little bit. We're doing the same thing with a C, and it just brings a different element, a different vibe. If you're getting bored with just the regular power chords, well, this is a really cool tactic, and it can just change up the entire song that you are writing, which you guys know I encourage you to write your own riffs, write your own music. I mean, that's why you were created. You were created to create, okay? Create more riffs. Now, what I'm doing here is the typical power chord. Again, we're on the the 3rd and 5th frets, A and D strings here. So what I do is I bar the 3rd frets of the A and the D strings. Then I go 3-2. Lastly, we're gonna build another little musical bridge here to go from that C power chord back to where we started, the A, okay? And what I'm doing here is just a simple little riff. Okay, just a few little notes there, and we're on the 3rd fret. We're already playing that C power chord, so we're already there on the 3rd fret. I tend to do this from time to time just to make things a little easier, right? You can think of a cool riff that's going to start on the note where you're already at. Well, it just makes things a little easier, can make the transition a little smoother. That's not a rule, by the way. It's just something, a little tactic that I use from time to time. So we're already there. We're going to turn the power chords into some single notes to build that bridge between the C and going back to where we started with the A. 3rd fret open, then 2, 3, 2, okay, on the same string. Then I go over to the 3rd fret of the E string. Then I go into pretty much the beginning of the riff again. So like this. Let's play the whole thing through and then we'll have our guitar chat. Guys, it is time for our guitar chat, but real quick, if you do not have my free practice guide called Metal Riffs and Licks, make sure you download a copy of that. That is free for all my YouTube subscribers, and there's a link in the description of this video for that. That has literally helped thousands of metal guitar players just like yourself establish a practice pattern and just come up with some different riffs and licks. Now, if you already have that free practice guide, I have online guitar courses available as well. My Metal Riff Master course, over 80 new riffs that you're going to learn, plus some other bonuses and good stuff. If you're just starting out, I have a course called Metal Guitar Apprentice that goes over the fundamentals of heavy metal guitar. And this is also great if you need to revisit those basics. Maybe you've been away for guitar for quite some time. I've talked to a lot of you that played like 20, 30, 40 years ago, and you're just picking it up again. So this course is great for that. Links to all that goodness is in the description of this video, so do check that out. We didn't play any fancy riffs, nothing too complex going on here, but that's the point. So when you have something like an amazing vocal line coming in, or maybe it's just the verse of the song where you want something else, whether it be the guitar solo or the vocals, the lyrics, where you want that to really shine and come through, I feel like it's better to have more of a simple rhythm that supports that instead of having a whole bunch of stuff going on trying to compete with one another. That's just my personal opinion, doesn't mean I'm right. But I know when I'm writing a song and I want to highlight a certain part, like a vocal line, I want to make sure these lyrics are heard, I want to make sure the message gets across, or maybe I'm having a good day with my voice and I hit a really cool note. Well, the guitar part doesn't mean it can't be complex. It certainly can be, but I think it might be a little bit better if you have some of that contrast where the rhythm is just holding down the fort. It is solid, it serves as this really awesome foundation, and then all the other stuff on top of that can kind of shine a little bit above that while being supported by that amazing rhythm. And think about the guitar solos as well. When I'm writing my own music and I have a guitar solo part, a lot of times, I don't want to say I'll back off of the rhythms, but I might just let those power chords ring out a little bit or just keep a steady rhythm going. I'm not playing a whole lot of riffs because then that starts competing with the solo. Now there are times where the solo and the rhythms may kind of come together and complement one another, and that's okay. And let me just back up, guys. I'm not telling you how you should write your music or how to play or any of that stuff. I'm just sharing my personal philosophy. I think it's important, at least to me, to have certain instruments or vocals shine at certain points throughout the song, whereas during those times maybe everything else is just kind of holding down the fort, just serving as that solid foundation. Now of course, if you're into more of the progressive rock and progressive metal or some of the technical styles, right, technical death metal, then you're going to have a lot of stuff going on at the same time. So this is not a rule. I want that to be clear. I'm not saying this is the rule for music. Okay, in certain genres, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on at the same time. When you think of jazz, and I don't really even listen to jazz, but the little bit that I've heard, it's like, man, everything is kind of all over the place. But if you're wanting to write a more melodic style song and melodic style music where, again, certain parts you want to be highlighted during that song, maybe it's the vocals in this section, right? And what about rhythms like this to support guitar solos? Now I'm thinking like Joe Satriani style music, which he still is to date probably my favorite guitar player in the world. I've always admired Joe's playing, and a lot of the rhythms for his music, they're not over the top complicated. Instead, they are there to support his guitar solos because he plays melodies all throughout his songs, and that is the highlight. He is a lead guitarist and he is a solo guitarist. That's what he does. So that is the highlight really of all his songs. Now, it doesn't mean that some of the rhythms aren't a little complex. It doesn't mean that the rhythms aren't cool. Hey, I think what we just learned in this lesson here today, I think that's a pretty cool rhythm. I mean, you tell me, hey, drop me a comment, Jason, this is pretty cool, or no, Jason, it really wasn't that cool. But it was written in a way to support what's going on up top for those times. And sometimes the rhythms just need to drive the song. And this rhythm right here, hey, I think it drove the song quite well. It just keeps things moving along. I want you to take what you learned in this lesson today, and I want you to branch out and add some things to it. Maybe play that same riff and progression in a different key. Maybe head over to the D string, right? We've got some higher power chords. Now we get even more 80s sounding. So try playing it there. Maybe try playing it on the E string. Start there. Just mess around with it and add some more chords, add some more notes. Hey, add some more riffs to it if you want. This is what I want you guys to do. Take what I'm sharing with you and expand on that. But I do hope this lesson helped, and I hope this guitar chat just going over just kind of my own thoughts and concepts when it comes to rhythm guitar. Again, it doesn't mean all rhythms have to be just standard and power chords and a little palm muting. You can certainly go outside of that and add some killer riffs to that, but the rhythms, again, they are the foundation for hard rock and heavy metal and pretty much every subgenre of rock and metal. That's the core foundation. And if you want your music to have dynamics, just know that there are certain times that certain things will be highlighted throughout that song. And during those times might be where the rhythm guitar is just kind of holding down the fort. Just a really solid hard rock heavy metal rhythm like you learned just now. Guys, if you have any questions, drop those in the comments. Don't forget to check out the links in the description of this video. That certainly helps me and I do appreciate that. Also, hey, give this video a like if it helped you and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Until the next video, you guys know what to do. Keep it metal.